also write for the Dead Mountain Echo. I have an article in the Dead Mountain Echo this week, basically covering Meatless Mondays in the school. If you get a chance to read it, it's a new program that the school had. The school is in cooperation with Head Start, and they are trying to cooperate with Lane County Health and decrease childhood obesity. And on October 5th, we had a class there with Lane County Health at the elementary school where they went over increasing activity, menu items, talking about less wastage in the school and decreased cost for this program. And it actually includes community. So that if we can try to implement better eating as far as a community, I for sure definitely need that. So we, as a community, we can take that step forward and try to do that. Also, Principal O'Donnell asked me to tell all of you, you can contact her at 782-3226 and volunteer your time to help keep that program going. Thank you.
Ken Hooker?
I live at 48231 Hill Street. I just got a paper to hand out. Thank you, Mr. Hooker. There you go. You bet. Yes, sir.
Send this through a phone wire.
Yeah, just give me.
Josh, I'll have one for you next time I see you when we get home.
Okay. Do you have one for the city clerk?
You can get a copy of yours. Thank you.
Rusty Applin?
I don't know where to stand. It's kind of a
Just right, you can stand right in front
I
of
don't
me.
want to
I'm
stand
used
in
to
front of
it.
you. I'm Rusty Acklin, 48265 East Commercial Street, and I've lived here for, I just realized 40 years. And I'm here tonight to talk about our fire department and our emergency services. At the last meeting, Chief Martin was talking about the number of calls that they went on and how many of those were related to mental health and different issues. And my son is actually a detective in Jamestown, North Dakota, and he was home. And while he was home, I had given him this book. It's called Trauma Stewardship, an Everyday Guide to Caring for Self While Caring for Others. And it's for people who are caring for others all the time and dealing with situations such as both our fire department and EMS deal with. And then it talks and teaches them how to not to forget about themselves and care for themselves. So I wanted tonight to thank them for all they do, and then just having that shooting in Springfield, day before yesterday, it just brings back to home of the danger that these people face every day. And I wanted to donate a book to both the fire department and the police department for you to share and with your employees and train with them. And I got it on Amazon, but it's really a good book to just remind everybody of what you're going through and how to take care of yourself. So thank you, and I just wanted to donate these.
John Kenyon?
Don Kenyon, 76113 Fish Hatchery Road. I just wanted to address the council tonight about the complaint process that is going on in Oakridge, which is really non-existent for the city administrator and the councilors. I know it's on your agenda to talk about tonight, but I would really like to encourage you to take more time than what you might have in this meeting tonight to really thoroughly think about how you want to set up that process, particularly hopefully not with a subordinate reviewing those complaints before they're presented to yourselves. I just feel really strongly about that, and maybe even it needs to go to a committee first rather than you guys hashing out all the details yourselves. Thank you.
Christy Ball.
Christy Ball. My address is 76482 Cedar Street, Oakridge. So I got up last city council and I talked about the situation with the mayor and Larry in City Hall. Larry handed me a DVD that he was given from the police department with his incident with him and the mayor. He asked me if I would shorten the video down from 1 hour to the several minute interaction he had with the mayor so he could keep that copy for himself. While he did that, I let the tape continue to play and I heard a bunch of names from the city. I heard the mayor. At 8:35 in the video, you can hear Miss Whitney, who works at City Hall, say Leah specifically asked Louie before renting to them. Susan then replies, "We basically have to stop the rental of that building. I'm not giving them a key." To which the mayor replies, "I'm sick and effing tired of them." I'm shocked to hear election officials going through my personal rentals, telling them my private information without asking for a FOIA request. The mayor is then being told to crash a private rental that I rented, telling each other how they're going to plot to not let us have the gym, the political forum. They're going to host their own political forum. They're going to ask a retiree from the community to be their moderator. At 16:08 in the video, Susan tells Louie she's not going to rent us the gym, to which Louie replies, "Why? We've rented the WAC gym before to people in the past." Susan says, "Because they're going to screw up the door." To which Louie replies, "To the gym?" ? Victims in the tape include Mr. Affa, Gary Carl, Kathy Holston, and Don Kenyon. Voices include the city administrator scuffing staff about meetings in which the mayor calls Larry a liar. I feel like the forum complained about this, but nothing was done. So we filed this video to the Department of Justice, Secretary of State, Oregon Ethics Commission, and to media outlets yesterday. I feel like one more failure on the city administrator's side is to train basic professionalism to his staff, failing to assign elections officials to understand what electioneering is as a public official, the intent to fraud, the discrimination, and the violations of my privacy. Citizens expect a basic rule of public officials to be followed throughout Oregon, especially in a small town like Oakridge. Citizens expect that they're treated, when they are treated unprofessionally and called a liar like Larry was, they bring it to the attention of the council. They've asked you to apologize, which you refused. I think you need to take appropriate steps after that to have some sort of discipline for the mayor, who is completely out of touch and unprofessional. I'm not expecting much, but I'm going to demand that motions are made tonight to make real changes today. I don't believe this is a fluke 1 hour video where all this stuff is discussed. I think that it's just common now at City Hall for them to discuss private things, to break laws, to break pretty much every policy the city has to have at City Hall, and hold employees accountable. We got into this tiny snippet which talks about how citizens are being treated awfully, but we need to fix this from the ground up. So that starts with you 6 people. Louie oversees the city, but you oversee him. So I'm going to ask that you please have no more failures after tonight. And we will have a video available for you guys to watch.
So when did this happen?
You'll get a copy of the video too, or you can go into City Hall. You did this
Kathy
September
was
18th.
there and Gary was there and you?
Oh, no.
Just
You
you.
talked negatively about all of them.
It's a recording from City Hall.
When you called Larry a liar.
September.
Okay, stop.
Mr. Hooker, is this what you handed us? Okay, that's what this DVD is.
And we've had it professionally cleaned so that background static is removed so you can hear the voices clearly.
Not that one.
But that's not the one. So I will make sure you guys get a copy of the cleaned version so you can hear all the voices clearly.
May I ask if you have made
Not yet. We don't trust the process.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Actually, I was talking.
I know, but you can talk.
Okay, so you didn't file, you didn't because you chose not to, but you've given this to us now.
I can't hear.
Thank you. Turn the mic. Oh, should I? Well, it's not facing you, so it's hard to hear.
Dan Barkley.
Just to break my normal trend, I actually wrote something down and I will try and stay on script and get it done in 3 minutes. I may need some latitude to finish it, hopefully not. And first of all, not exactly the ideal webcast I had in mind when I suggested it 2 or 3 years ago, but I want to appreciate the citizens that are doing the video and the city administrators for giving mics to the people, a much larger audience, so they can hear it. Anyhow, so I understand the DMA, George Custer suggested that citizens face facts, not Facebook. Couldn't agree more. I prefer actual facts over intentional distortions. First off, for me, the most important fact is that there are no ill-advised citizens. Only intelligent people capable of making informed decisions, but when decisions are based on incorrect information, decisions can be equally flawed. Fact. 3 sitting councilors were wrongly accused of participating in illegal meetings. One was asked to resign and responded, not going to happen. Another was stripped of a position he had an absolute right to, and 4 council members selected a mayor with no path to that seat, as a quorum of council never elected her to be council president. Not hers to take, not Gary's to give. We live in a city that has been ridiculed by the media and divided twice in the last several years. Common denominators in both instances is that they were unnecessary, costly, and caused by the same failure for 7 people to supervise 2 appointees and the misconduct of those appointees. Their failure was misplaced trust in a hired employee, only to have that trust betrayed and their reputation tarnished. Not for what they did, but for what they didn't do. Councilors are decent people, but they also have a responsibility. We're not electing people to positions of decency. Another fact, Don Hadley may not be the easiest person to listen to, I know that firsthand, but he has the same right to be heard as anyone in this city. Most would be amazed how accurate his facts actually are. He gave me a compensation package on Gordon Zimmerman. Gordon did too. The difference between those 2 was about a Happy Meal. He's that close. But instead of listening to those facts, they were ignored. The facts were taken on board from the city administrator, and you know, there's 1.2 million reasons in my mind for elected officials to conduct their due diligence, consider advice, condemn, and at least consider information from a citizen instead of ignoring them, along with lapsed audits, grossly inflated budgets, and illegal use of signs by citizens under the guise of keeping Oakridge safe, or $1,700 plus in signs and disgusting media. Don Hadley isn't the most diplomatic person I know, but he attempted to warn a city, and damn sure isn't a disgusting cartoon. No one is. If anything, you should appreciate somebody spent 4 or 5 years trying to stop what happened several years ago. Another fact, our current city administrator recorder was hired after most of the fiscal difficulties had been addressed and or resolved. 2 of 3 lapsed audits were done, and the 3rd was distributed at the first meeting of 2013.
Your 3 minutes are up.
I've got about half a paragraph, if I may. We're hired after that. So if anyone needs to appreciate those most responsible for averting the abyss of bankruptcy, send Bob DeLong and Tiffany Couch an email, or pray for the souls of the decision makers that we've lost since. I don't presume to advise anyone how to vote.
Okay, your paragraph is up. Come on, let's get to the next person.
That's fine. I just put it on social media. You like that? Actually, it's already on social media.
Yeah, I don't look at them. Kent Dockery.
I'm Kent Dockery. I live at 47768 Ferry Glen. I'm here to thank the council and also the city staff for the work that they've helped me to do to keep the warming center going here in Oakridge. This is our 4th year that we're starting out. We'll be starting out in another month. We're moving to new rooms here in this building, and thanks to Rick Zylstra everything is working out fine with that. And I want to thank you very, very much. Even if we can save one life, the 600 hours that we spent last year volunteering to possibly help people who would come to the warming center was well worth that time. And I want to thank you very much.
Hello, I just want to invite everybody to a meeting out at Greenwaters October 24th regarding the community center that will be discussed, and bring ideas so we can get this project started. We're all excited about it. I've done some researching and found some money, but unfortunately a little too late because the deadline was October 31st and the amount was up to $1 million. So the excitement is there, the ideas are coming in, and we hope that the city council members can come, mayor, you hopefully can come, and we can all put our brains together and go for it and get us a community center.
When is the next meeting?
October 24th, 6 p.m., Greenwaters Park.
Thank you. Sherry Klosterman.
Okay, I'm going to stand right here, being the fact that I'm disabled tonight. My name is Sherry Klosterman. I live at 48314 Hill Street, Oakridge, Oregon, 97463. I only have a couple of questions for, well, it was for the chief of the police, but he's not here tonight, so I will direct my question to the council. Does the city of Oakridge here have a contract with their business owners here in the Oakridge? And I think the answer is yes. But are they allowed to have their little trailers not hooked up to electricity or water or anything else, and enabling people to live in them, not rent-free? The owner that I'm talking about is Outdoor Sports. It's located right on Highway 58. He's got two really teeny tiny trailers back there, and there is a couple that I do know using one of them for a dwelling. They don't work, but they have to have a place to cover their head. However, if you start allowing individuals to utilize commercial businesses for their own sake, for their own dwellings, it will continue, and then you're going to have people all over Oakridge, and including your own property, so they can have a dwelling place. There is no electricity, as I said, and there is no toilet connected. There is nothing there. They use a, what is it called? A Coleman stove. Okay, so my question is, does the city play favorites to business owners to allow people to live on commercial property? What you do personally is your own business, but I, for one, I don't appreciate it because there's a mess back there. Just things. Thank you. Have a nice evening. I gotta sit down.
So, Sherry, where is Outdoor Sports?
God, are you serious?
I'm sorry, I don't know where it is.
You know where this old Sportsman is? The old building? It's right next door to the washing place where you wash your vehicles.
Oh, okay, I know where you're talking about now. Yeah.
Oh, there was one other little statement I would like to make. Do I have 30 seconds?
Yes.
Mr. Gomez, have you gone down Hill Street to read that sign yet? It says, no trucks authorized. Use Fish Hatchery Road. And I was going to take a picture of that and bring it to you tonight, but I forgot. So I would appreciate it if you would get with these big Hummers, like 10-ton trucks and the railroad trucks. Stop coming down Hill Street. They're loud, obnoxious, and it's garbage.
Breaking the sewer and water pipes.
Yeah, breaking the sewer and the water pipes along with the streets. That street's been in there since I was 5 years old. You should see it now.
Okay, I think your time's up now. Okay. Mayor and council comments? Go ahead.
It was with great interest I listened to Jackie Taylor, who lives up on High Prairie, read a letter purported to be by a city employee in praise of the city. And I was delighted because most city employees, as you look around, in 10 years that I know of, rarely come in here. Very few exceptions. And then I was profoundly disappointed to see that this person would not give their name. This doesn't bode well for the city. A person who wants to praise the city refuses to give their name in doing a good job doesn't lead me to have confidence in what's going on, even when you're saying good things. So I can't place much weight in this letter, and I'm sorry Ms. Taylor isn't here tonight, because I'd sure like to question that. Or if the person who allegedly wrote this letter is here, I'd sure like to hear from them one way or the other. Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Actually, I have a couple things to say. First of all, after listening to the comment last week and listening to Mr. Custer's letter, I just wanted to make something clear that he had kind of pointed out that he took up things. He had mentioned that that it was important that the city keep Mr. Gomez in his current position because of new business coming in, and that they might decide not to if we would make a change in that area. And because of his position as chairman in the planning commission as well as chairman in ODAC, our economic development, I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that those were not reflective of the committee. They were reflective of himself as a non-citizen of Oakridge. I've had people say that they understood that it was the committee that was making that statement, and it wasn't. So I just want people to understand that. I also want to make it clear that he mentioned that Mr. Gomez was chosen out of 50 applicants. And in fact, that wasn't because it rose to the top. I think it rose to the bottom. So it was kind of a misnomer for the public, not any disrespect to Mr. Gomez, but I felt that Mr. Custer's statements were extremely biased and unfair. So I just want to make sure that that was clear. Also, regarding this tape statements, I don't know how many different times we can listen to people say they've heard really bad language, conversation, insinuations in City Hall. I guess I am at a point where we talked about, there's always one or two people that complain, there's always this, there's always that, and in any group that happens, there is. I know that, we all know that, we deal with lots of people all the time, but this keeps coming up. And if this indeed is true, and what I hear on this is what I've been told is said, I'm appalled. You don't get to influence election. We're not talking about just saying you don't like me. I know you don't like me. Okay, thank you. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean that I don't feel bad, but it's okay. That's why I was elected. I get that. But to willingly try to stop someone from being elected or the process when you're an elected official, you think that's funny? It's not. Well,
it is true. I listened to the tape.
I hope, let's not get into an argument with it, but I hope this isn't true. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But if it is, I am really appalled at that kind of behavior. No one. I shouldn't do it. Mr. Carl shouldn't do it. Judy shouldn't do it. Staff shouldn't do it. No one should do it. And this isn't a violation of law. And if that is the case, it will be pushed. And I would expect you, Louis, to do something about this.
Absolutely.
And take it seriously. That doesn't mean like a month later get back to us.
No. We'll look at it tomorrow. First thing. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow anyway. Please look at it together.
Shouldn't have to look at it, who's there. Shouldn't
This may
have
or
to
may
look
not
at
be
it,
the right
who's
time, I
there.
suppose. But I would like to make a motion. I would like to make a motion pursuant to section 5, category A of the contract we have with the city administrator, which is the section that relates to termination without cause by the city. I would like to so move that we terminate city administrator's contract as of October 31st.
Second.
I believe
Any more
discussion.
discussion?
May I say
Go
something?
ahead.
So just so that the citizens are aware, we are currently in negotiations, so that I was going to be leaving anyway. So I would hope that the council would consider that, so that we can just go ahead and finish that. I believe that would be fair.
So I wouldn't have mentioned the fact that we're in negotiations, because I thought that was pursuant to an executive session. But since you raised it, yes, we have been.
Oh, wait a minute. What he's talking about wasn't discussed. You cannot talk about executive session stuff, no matter what.
All I'm discussing is that I got something from my attorney saying that we're in negotiations.
And you don't want me to say anything about anything?
No.
Just sit here and shut up?
Yeah.
Is that what you'd like?
Yes.
Well, that's not what you're gonna get. We have been.
Gary, point of order.
Uh-huh, I hear you.
My point would be that was discussed in executive session.
You don't even know what I'm gonna say. You
Right.
don't even know
You
what I'm gonna
just started talking about it.
You interrupted.
You wouldn't. You want him to say it?
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean,
I think it's public knowledge.
No secret now.
Go ahead.
We have been attempting to negotiate with Mr. Gomez's attorney, with our city attorney, and it's my opinion that those negotiations have not been in good faith. In other words, they've been dragging on, and it's time for action.
Kathy?
Well, I agree with that. I mean, and yes, there has been negotiations going on, and we're really pleased that that's happening. But I have a microphone.
We'll use it. Yeah. Turn it on. Turn it on.
It says switch. Okay. Little humor never hurt. Yes, we have been in negotiations, and you know, they've been moving along, but they seem to be going slower and slower. The longer they go, the more protracted this becomes, the more ineffective we have. We become ineffective because it's as if we have a sort of Damocles hanging over our heads. I believe that it's time to move on, and we need to move forward, because healing only begins once you've ripped the scab off and you can get started again. I believe this is the right thing to do, but I am a member of the council, and as the council, that's why I brought it to a vote, and would like it to come to a vote, so that the will of the council can be known.
Josh, can you hear this?
I can.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Well, I'd like to ask Josh if he has anything he wants to say from wherever he is.
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I guess my biggest concern on this topic is that, you know, we extended Louis Gomez's contract in good faith. and now it's October. I don't know, I guess I'm having a hard time following, bouncing around, you know, and having consistency within what it is that we say as a council. And what does the community see when we keep switching things up? If we can't get along with one another, then how could we possibly expect anybody else to? As far as the negotiations, you guys are more in the loop than me. I'm working 2 jobs currently. But I guess the motion has been motioned and seconded. So that's my 2 cents.
May I respond to Josh?
Yes.
So, Josh, this is Gary speaking. Your concern, if I understand what you said, is that the council has not spoken with a unified voice. Is that correct?
That's part of it.
So, you're right. This is a very difficult process that we're attempting to go through, and we cannot talk about it outside of the council session or an executive session because it would be an improper meeting if we were to do that. It's the only time that we can talk about it is now.
Right. I understand that.
And you're absolutely right. I personally had hoped that things could progress differently, but in fact they have not been. And you may recall that when we had that last meeting, Judy Rowland and I were appointed to stay in communication with our attorney. Do you recall that?
I did.
And so I have been doing that. I have been in communication with our attorney. And nothing's happening.
Right.
And nothing's happening. And nothing's happening. Now, I don't know whether it's our attorney who's prolonging this or whether it's Mr. Gomez's attorney who's dragging it out, and for what reason, I don't know. But this is not a normal negotiation. It goes on week after week without any resolution or without getting anywhere. And so I kind of feel like, personally, I'm being pushed into this position of either do something or don't.
Okay, may I comment, Gary?
Yeah, sure.
My worry is that if this goes through while in negotiations, that is going to open up a whole different problem that may be larger than the problem that's at hand. No, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so I don't even know what to say. Other than I hope that the people that are leading this know what they're doing, and I just gotta trust. I guess I gotta trust my fellow council.
Thank you. I don't have anything more to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just have one thing to add here. So according to section 10 of the charter, it states that each of the officers shall be appointed and may be removed at the pleasure of the mayor with consent of the council.
So what are we speaking of?
That's the charter.
I know, officers, what do you mean?
Louis and the those 2 officers. Additional officers shall be a municipal judge and a city administrator and such other officers.
I'm reading from his contract.
I'm reading from the charter.
What page are you on the charter?
Section 10 can be found on page 2, chapter 3, section 2.
What version of the charter?
November 12th.
2012.
12.
It was updated in 16.
And it says,
Well, let's see if I have that one here with me.
Not in
The
the
current was
charter.
2012, Councilor Affa.
Say that again,
So,
whoever
okay.
said that.
The current charter is 2012, but the section that Councilman Gobelman is discussing, basically with concurrence of the council means 4 votes, signed by the mayor.
and pleasure of the mayor with council approval means.
The mayor has to abide by what the entire council agrees
The
to.
mayor is one of 7 with the title.
No, exactly.
Her vote's worth as much
just,
as yours.
I'm just throwing it out here for some clarity, right? Does it mean that the mayor has to initiate the action and council approves?
No.
As soon as the council votes, then the mayor has to go with it.
No, the mayor doesn't have to go with it.
Or according to your charter,
If you,
I have my own opinion.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
But if you get 4 or 5 votes and you disagree and vote the other way, it still passes.
Order here. Let us do our business. Please.
Can you, Council Goldman, can you tell me the section what again?
Section 10 of chapter 3, form of government.
Well, I know that I'm biased, but I read it the way that Councilor Gobelman reads it, is that the mayor must initiate with the pleasure of the mayor and then the vote to have your 4
with the
votes.
consent of the,
Yep, so that's your 4, you have got to have your 4 votes.
Well, I would beg to differ, considering our attorney told us that what our contract has stands and that there is no reason why we can't use the contract.
No, no, I want to bring it up because.
And I don't know why you're bringing it up, so I
Because
would
we
love
want to,
clarity.
no, so,
That's
a
the
lot
only
of
reason I
times,
asked.
a lot of times we go to contracts with disregard to the charter.
Yes.
Or reading the charter.
Absolutely.
So I'm just putting it on the floor here, is that this is what the charter states. Now, for myself, you know, I'm seeking clarity too.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
seeking opinion also. I'm not stating this as fact or whatever, I'm looking for interpretation and how this is interpreted, so that we don't get into a situation where we can say we're violating the charter.
That's much more clear than what you said before, so I appreciate you clearing that up.
Gary?
So the reason we cannot give it the interpretation that you're giving it is that would put all of the control in one person, the mayor, and that just doesn't make sense. You can't have the mayor controlling everything that the city council is going to do or not do with respect to terminating your city administrator.
No, I'm just saying that this is the way it's written.
Well, it's wrong.
Well,
It just makes it illegal. Right. Yeah.
I think what we've discovered is in this section is one of those, because it flips back and forth between the words that it uses, and that's what we have found throughout the charter is that it's not as it doesn't use its text consistently. And concise is a good word too, but it doesn't use the same words consistently. It flips back and forth between council and mayor and that type of thing. And it's one of those things that we've recognized in the past that need to be changed. I believe there is a motion on the floor, and I would call for a vote.
So I have a question. Why? Why tonight? Why not when we did the December 31st or whatever? Why now? Why?
I believe I explained that. That I felt that we needed to move forward. That's what I said.
Okay, call for the vote.
Mayor Rowland,
Nay.
Councilor McMillan,
Nay.
What did you say?
Nay.
Nay.
Councilor Gobelman,
Nay.
Councilor Borkham,
Aye.
Councilor Alpha,
Aye.
Councilor Carl,
Aye.
Councilor Holston,
Aye.
Wow.
Motion carries.
What do you guys got, a super van in there? No, seriously. What are we gonna have?
You're out of order.
Doesn't matter, the
Okay.
county wants to know what's gonna happen, you have no
Can
plan.
you call them out of order?
You
Yes.
have no plan.
That's just your
Okay.
opinion, there is a plan.
Okay.
Oh, what's your
There's always
plan?
been a planning.
You don't get a vote.
Okay, stop! Everyone!
It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
What?
I would suggest that you guys be called and discuss for 5 minutes.
No. We're gonna go on.
I've never been so sick of this town in my life.
There's your plan.
It's her plan to walk it
No,
out.
there's your plan. We made it.
It's not my plan.
Good thing they know part of this.
Okay, additions, corrections. I will have everybody removed if you guys don't stop talking. You can put it on there, I don't care.
Yes, Mayor, you have it on there, you need to add an executive session, please,
Okay?
under the one that you have, that I gave you.
Now I need to find it. Okay. Executive session, ORS 192.660 F, to consider information or records that are exempt from disclosure by law, including written advice from our attorney, from your attorney,
No, the city.
the city. Okay. Any corrections or adjustments to the agenda?
No, nothing else, Mayor, just that.
I have a question for the